the consideration for approval of the minutes, Nani. Second by Nani. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried unanimous. Consent items A and B, any questions?
Second.
Who made the motion? Oh, okay. Nani and Josh, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried unanimous. Did I close it?
Recess.
They will recess the meeting now at 7:03 PM, Linda, and open a public hearing for tax increment financing. Shannon, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and members of the council, Shane Epps meeting with David Brown Associates. Tonight we've scheduled a public hearing to receive public comment regarding the creation of tax increment financing district number 1-6. We're proposing to create a new tax increment district that would enable us to capture new property taxes generated as a result of new industrial development that would occur in the St. James Industrial Park. The area of the district encompasses just the vacant lots in the industrial park. And what we're intending to do is assist potential projects that are moving forward that would have requested and would intend to receive tax increment assistance. Again, the form of assistance that's intended to be provided is generally that of reducing the cost of the purchase price of the lot by capturing those property taxes that are generated by new development that occurs after we create the district. I believe it's our intention initially to reduce the purchase price of an industrial park lot and then make up that difference in lost purchase price through capturing those new property taxes and using those to reimburse development costs that the city has in those lots. So this is a tool that enables you to do that. The creation of the district again covers the lots within the industrial park. By adopting the TIF plan, you're not obligating yourselves at that point to do anything. You simply created the tool to provide a subsidy if you choose to. The only way that you would be providing a subsidy is through adopting or authorizing execution of a development agreement that you will have later on your agenda. So ultimately, this part of the process is creating the economic development tool that allows us to capture those new property taxes generated as a result of development that occurs in the industrial park. And then through subsequent agreements with various developers, you're able to use that assistance as you see fit. So more than happy to answer questions. There's a document in your packet called the tax increment plan. It provides information on the boundaries, on the budget for the TIF district. On purpose, we inflate the budget for the TIF district. Otherwise, you may be required to go back and amend that budget in the future and hire me again to do that. We try to avoid things like that, so we inflate that budget somewhat artificially in order to provide lots of room for you to do various projects that you may choose to do in the future. Again, I'd say the most important aspects of this district are, the budget and the TIF plan, which we made large so that you can do multiple projects. The boundaries of the TIF district, which are the vacant lots in the industrial park. And the other thing that's important to recall is that we have essentially 5 years. There's a 5-year rule associated with TIF districts from the certification date. That's how much time we have to do projects within this TIF district. We can incur new obligations in this TIF district for a period of 5 years. So within the boundaries of this particular district, we have 5 years to work with different developers to do projects to build on the vacant lots. If we're not successful in that amount of time, and say in year 6 we wish to do something, we can simply decertify the district for that particular parcel and create a new one if we choose to at that time. So
5 years to start, for a business to start. It doesn't have to say
that's correct.
Fifth year we start, it doesn't get down to a 6 year, we're okay because we started.
That's correct. 5 years to actually incur an obligation or to enter into an agreement with the city. However, there is an overall clock that starts ticking about 2 years out from now when you collect your first increment. You will collect increments from this district for a period of 9 years if you choose to create it. So,
And 9 years is the maximum, we talked about that.
9 years is the maximum of this type of a district. which an economic development.
And we'll get into that when we get to the new business, to explain some of that,
Sure.
okay?
Be appropriate to take comments from the council and the public for the public hearing.
Council, any questions or comments? Anybody? Josh, Paul,
Do
anybody?
we have to wait if we get into that 6th year and we decertified? Is there a waiting period before we can recertify?
You can remove parcels at will from this district simply by resolution. The hard part is putting a parcel into a district. Taking it out is easy, putting it back in a district, we have to go through a similar process. But there's no waiting period in between two different districts.
Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Okay, hearing no other questions, none from the council, we'll close the hearing. 7:10 PM. And we will reconvene. Excuse me, do we have that, sorry? Okay, you're the break, okay. We'll reconvene back to the council meeting. And now go down to new business. And 13A is a resolution approving the establishment of tax increment plans in District 1 through 6. Again, Shannon.
Sure. Mayor and members of the council, there's a resolution in your packet providing for the adoption of the TIF plan. Makes a number of findings that we're required to make under statute for the purposes of creating the district. Again, we draft these ordinances to provide as much flexibility as we can under the law to essentially do what you intend to accomplish, which is produce or entice development in your industrial park. And so, if you have any questions with regard to the resolution, I'm more than happy to answer those. Acting on this resolution will adopt the TIF plan. It'll put the tool in place because the document will be filed with the county and the state. So you will have an active TIF district there. That doesn't necessarily mean anything to you unless you enter into a development agreement to do something with those tax increments that you're collecting from that district. So if that requires development to occur in order for a tax increment or that new property tax to be generated, that you would capture. And at that point, you'd have some ability to enter into an agreement or to use that for some public purpose under statute. So, more than happy to answer questions. Yep.
Letter C.
Yep.
Whereas, I see it includes the school district.
Yes.
And also under the assumption or under the understanding, I should say, that the school district we would not capture their taxes, is that right?
There can be a small portion that's based on tax capacity and not on market value. Most referendums are based on market value, so we do not capture those. What I can tell you is those taxes that we do capture that are school related are relatively small, and the school district is made whole through state funding formulas for taxing.
So they are gonna get some of their
Yeah,
taxes.
but
not
it
regulation.
should be a very minor portion of the overall collection for the school district. And again, the state doesn't penalize them for funding formula as a result of that.
Any questions, anybody? So this would be in resolution form, should you decide to approve it.
So moved, dispense with the reading.
Thank you, Paul. Josh, any further discussion? Anything you want to add? Molly, anything you want to add? Okay, all in favor signify by show of hands. Opposed, resolution passes 5-0 unanimous. Now we'll go on to 13B. Resolution authorizing sale of property and execution of financial assistance development agreement.
Good evening. As you just heard, we created a TIF district to assist us in some development in our industrial park. Before you is the development agreement. This particular development agreement is a three-party agreement between the city, the EDA, and the developer. In summary, what it lays out is commitments by the developer, those being to construct a building in this case 80 by 160, to create jobs, and to have the building and or project complete by the end of next year. Commitments by the EDA. As you heard Shannon say, we are proposing to sell the lot for $1. In turn, the tax increments would help offset our development costs for this particular lot. And then the city obviously created the TIF district, so those increments would then be reimbursed to the EDA for those initial development costs.
Just as a point of interest, or a point of information, excuse me, the increment that is proposed to collect will be higher than what we are currently asking for the lot. So we will recapture more than 100% of what we're marketing the lots for at this time. Is that an accurate statement? Right?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, and to that point, just to take that one step further, you can see in the development agreement that should the development not occur, we've asked that the developer reimburse us for the cost of the lot in its entirety, along with the creation of this district.
Has anybody got any questions on this? And this is lot 3.
Correct.
Because in our resolution, if you see in the first paragraph, it says 2 or 3. This one is 3 because we will address 2 a little later. Okay. So it's 3, which would be the third lot in on the east side of the street from the highway. This again is in resolution form.
So moved. Dispense with the reading.
Paul, Bonnie, any further discussion on it? Anything you want to add, Shannon? All in favor signify by show of hands. Opposed? Resolution passes 5-0 unanimous. Do you want, maybe we can do that at the end, just to update us on industrial park for other folks. We can do that at the end, we now.
Sure, whichever.
Okay. 13C, resolution special use permit roadway construction.
Before you have a resolution granting special use permit to allow the operation and storage of sand, gravel, stone, or other similar materials, similar activities that are eligible for special use in an I2 district. Roadways construction is the applicant. A public hearing was held by the planning commission, and they found that the criteria for granting a special use permit was applicable in this situation, and they're recommending approval of the request.
Council have any questions? Scott's here to answer if you have any.
How much truck traffic is gonna be incurred on this?
Yeah, I'm not, I'm not sure. Come up here, Scott. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't have an exact plan, we're just trying to see what we can do with the property, just have some available options. We don't have any specific use or specific plan for it, but just giving some different options to use it. So
Right.
how much, I don't.
Right now, you don't have an actual plan to store anything there at the
No.
moment?
No, like tomorrow morning with everybody goes. Yes, no, we don't. I mean, it would be definitely enough, probably, nothing this year.
Maybe give a little background, Scott, what you used to have out at the pit and you don't have anymore.
Correct, yeah, we have a site, just now, north town that we use, just like valves and stuff, salvage materials or excavated dirt or things of that nature that was reusable. So we can no longer using that, when I had bought this lot in, it was 06, I think it closed in 07, so we've had it for a long time, looking at temps, so that's not close for people to rate in how the handiest and for 7 years, so trying to be able to have the opportunity or at least the flexibility to be able to use it, especially with person. So as far as actual, I don't know how much it's going to be used. It could be once a summer, it could be every day of the summer.
depending on the use, I mean, those streets, they aren't, no, 4-ton streets, I think 10 feet. Is it 5 over there?
Ray, you know?
From Fifth Avenue south, they're 10-ton.
Oh, they are, okay. Okay,
Because farm service rings or somebody there.
I didn't, okay, that's fine.
Any other questions?
Is there gonna be actual grinding of these materials there causing dust, noise, et cetera, in that area?
Well, it's on the permit or on the application, we just put on there recyclable materials and road processing and such. And it's hard to say what's gonna happen. I mean, I don't, I'd say we're on an exact plan, but, just like having flexibility to do things, if a guy does get into that, I mean, there's, between the MSHAs and the OSHA, we've got the regulations and the requirements to control your dust and your noises and all that stuff. It's well covered with all these agencies. So, if you actually do any of that stuff, I mean, you fall underneath their umbrella as to what you do and you do not do.
Steve, did you clarify the zoning of it?
Zoning, I believe, was I-2. And this is a permitted use for a special use in I-2 zone. The city code, the zoning code sets out standards, and it was the opinion of the planning commission and staff that they complied with the standards. And the planning commission chose not to attach any conditions to the issuance of the permit, primarily because it was an I-2 zone, and there's a cement plant right next to it. And there is a tree line buffer, if you're familiar with the property.
Great. Thanks, Doug. Marion? Sure, you bet. Thank you.
I'm opposed to having gravel trucks go in and out of that street because 10th is very narrow and it's the busiest street in town, busier than First Avenue for people that are walking and biking. It's also a blind intersection because of the railroad tracks, cement barriers on either side. If you're coming from the south headed north, you cannot see anybody exiting out of there until they get way out into the street. If there's somebody coming with a bicycle or walking along there, you'll hit them. And
If they put the driveway way to the north of the lot.
up on top, will it be way up on top?
I don't know, I'm just saying, you're making the assumption it's gonna be on the south side next to the underpass, where they're not
Well,
gonna be able to
it'll
see
be-
bikers or walkers.
Yeah,
So
it'll have to
I
be up.
guess roadways would be willing to work with, some kind of plan there to set it where they're, the trucks leaving and going in there, and the bikers and hikers would have, full view of what's going on.
Well, they'd have to be way up on the top where the other street is, even with that other street up by the tree line. Because there's no way you can see down on the bottom of the lot. I know it's zoned commercial. And do you want great big high gravel piles in town? So, anyway, my concern is safety. Because there's, and then within another year or two, and when there's a train in, that becomes 494 interstate. As far as vehicles in and out, going up 10, all the way to, it's the quickest way through town. And it's a bypass. So, yes,
Thank you, Marion.
thank you.
Welcome. Marion's the next house, north of the tree line. And we're discussing. Okay, council wishes.
I remember with that resolution.
Second.
Mike, second by Don, any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Show of hands.
Resolution, okay, show of hands. 1, 2, 3 opposed. 1, 2, resolution passes 3-2. Do we need more fix on this? Okay, very good. Resolution passes 3-2. Okay, thanks, Scott. Mary, next, 13D, resolution granting special use permit. Harold Gale and Greg Lingbeck. Molly.
Gerald and Gail Lingbeck and Greg Lingbeck have applied for a special use permit for a property located at 816 Fifth Avenue North. This particular property is zoned I2, which is a general industrial district. As per our zoning ordinance, retail use in this particular district is allowed with a special use permit, which is what the applicant is requesting here. They've asked to use a portion of their particular facility for retail sales, including things like thrift store, secondhand store, craft shop, things along those lines, repurposed items. The planning commission held a public hearing, accepted comments on October 28th. And their recommendation coming forward is approval with the special condition that off-street parking area will be maintained and available. There is existing parking at the front of the facility. And that hard surface parking will be recommended but will not be required. And signage and other provisions of the ordinance must be and remain in compliance.
Is this the location of the little grain mill? That was
Used to be Collis Feeds.
Right.
Okay.
Right, so the Quonset building, the ground in that particular facility, there was an office area that was approximately 18 by 33, and that's what they're gonna start off as using for this particular retail location.
And you also got the shop to the west that's not being included to start with. It's nearly where the office was, Greg.
Correct.
So, you have anything you wanna add, Greg?
Not really. Didn't-
Anybody have any questions of Greg is here? Non-council wishes?
Move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Josh and Mike, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by a show of hands. Opposed? Resolution passes 5-0 unanimous. How quick are you gonna start, Greg?
What's that?
How quick do you plan on starting?
Probably a couple weeks.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, 13E, quotes for liquid hauling wastewater treatment plant, Mark.
In front of you, you have quotes for hauling our liquid biosolids for the fall of 2014. We have MPI Farms for 3 cents a gallon, each paying $19,500, and the second quote from Shepherd Farms for 2.5 cents a gallon at $16,250. Recommendations go with Shepherd Farms.
Who does it now?
We had MPI Farms do it this last spring, and they did it at a cheaper rate, but then they reported it for increased costs.
So we're not discussing any of those solids anymore?
We did a little study on that to find out that that's not the most economical way to do it. I think they included in, if you guys want a handout from Bolton Inc. today.
No, they did not.
They did not? Okay.
No. They're sending me, right?
All right.
When you built that plant, you think that you know it wasn't gonna be the most efficient thing?
What was it?
Did the engineers know that?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's an excellent question, man. Can't answer that.
I think we put quite a bit of money into that part of it that was gonna be expressed. And
Right,
that was.
and at that time, we had a major issue with nickel, which could not be landslide, and we had to come up with another way of processing our solids.
So we've since had 2 plants
So that-
closed that we used that.
So now that we don't have the nickel problem, this is less expensive than Preston.
Right, but if we should end up with a nickel problem again,
We're all set.
we're all set. Plus we have the
$5
oxygen,
million.
That wasn't in the.
Well,
The other thing that's happened is we've had at least one occasion where another community hasn't been able to process theirs, their sludge. They brought it in, we pressed it
For them.
for them.
We contracted.
We contracted to do that. And,
So at least it's getting used anyway.
right, and there are communities out there that have indicated an interest in the future as their facilities reach the point where they need to draw down on site, eliminate some sludge from that.
So that sludge had nickel in it, or that they brought in?
No,
no,
but we do have a separate area where that is contained. It doesn't go through our process at all. There's a separate holding bin that, that would go in, and we cannot commingle our sludge with anybody else's, so.
it's totally isolated.
Sure.
It's totally isolated from our system, so there's no cross contamination of any sort.
And one of the things that we're attempting to do is address the shortfall that we've had over the last number of years in our wastewater treatment plant. And this is an opportunity to do that because pressing sludge is very expensive for us. Not only in the amount of work that's being done by our employees, but also the energy costs and the potential energy costs because of the fact that when we do press sludge, we're taking some of that byproduct and it's going back into our holding tanks. And then we're having to work those harder with electric pumps and things to make sure that we stay in compliance with DOD and ammonia and all of the other, keeping the Daphne and the other bugs alive. Thank you.
But didn't at one time, didn't we address that, well, we talked about the nickel issue and the reason we were going to be having liquid form was because the nickel was too high, the nickel content was too high. We were gonna try to get it down to a level where then we could press again.
Yes.
And we're not even gonna look at that pressing right now at this point because it's too expensive? Or
Right.
will we ever go back to that?
We have the potential that we can do that, yes. But the way it sits right now with what, we can have them come in and haul it, it doesn't even come close on price right now.
What is the price difference? Because right now, I mean, we have two bids, one was 19 and one was 16. How much is it costing us to press this when we are able to?
In here it shows, and it's not a complete analysis, because there are a lot of unknown factors
Flip
that
side
we
of
can't
that.
really put in there.
Right.
But,
That's the cost for us to press.
the 19,700 would be to press it, but we are missing some factors in there, like the fuel costs and some other equipment costs that we really don't know because we're not running it, so we can't. It would be a guess, but we don't have actual firm
It would be
numbers.
higher than this 19.
Correct, that's at least
This is just
19,000.
basically the labor cost.
Labor and a little bit of electricity,
Electricity,
and it's not even a complete list of electricity.
You're not
That's
including
just-
any equipment maintenance or fuel or wear and tear on our vehicles, all that stuff.
Right.
Calling first.
And yes, then we'd have to have, like, say, a payloader and 2 dump trucks, which we don't have a lot of those laying around.
And then we sold some vehicles, correct? That we were using all the time because we weren't gonna need those anymore. So the saga just continues, doesn't it?
I'm sure it's a saga, but
Well, it kind of does, I think.
we have two industries that we didn't have a choice at the time to meet our state requirements. Those two industries aren't here, but there's no way to know that they would be here today. Hindsight's 20/20, obviously. But the minimum savings is 20% by doing it this way.
And we still have the option, if need be, that we still.
Absolutely.
If it
If
ever
we
turns
ever
around.
have
Whatever, yeah.
any of the parameters come out of line, we can always fall back on the press. It's a more expensive option, but we can do something with it then.
Or if we get an industry that has nickel again, we're
Correct.
going back to it.
Correct.
So we should invite those industries, because we can take care of it.
Exactly. Good story. Council wishes?
So what do we go with a little bit?
Second by Paul, any further discussion? Again, Amber?
Pardon?
Anything you wanna add?
No.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Don. Paul. Steve.
No,
Just a reminder, the poll is open tomorrow morning at 7, close at 8 in the evening, and voting is at the end.
Leanne will be there early and stay late. Along with everyone else. Mike?
Nope.
Great. Mark? Linda? Nothing? What's the movie this week like? How is it going with, I know we can
Pretty
see.
nice out there.
When is the next movie?
On schedule for the 15th,
15?
14th? 17th?
I just wanted to
Yep.
the council site is open all week,
Well, this
so
week,
just a
okay,
reminder.
good to know. Yeah, update on the lots, I'm sorry, Molly. You know, but, yeah, compost site is open all week this week, depending on the weather, it's okay, so it's 8 to 12, 1 to 5, all week, right, Rick?
I think it's 9 to 12, 1 to 5.
Saturday, 8 to 12, 1 to 5.
Yes, Saturday is.
Come to read the paper, Rick?
What's that?
Read the paper for the Times?
Yeah, better.
You want an update on the lot? So we have, one lot left on the east side of the road in the industrial park. That's available for purchase, and 2 lots that are available on the west side of the road in the industrial park. The lots on the west side are approximately 1.7 acres. The lot on the east side is 2.24 acres. So anybody that's interested, by all means, give me a call. We'd like to hear from you, and work something out using the tools that we have. You've seen one of them implemented tonight. So certainly give me a call, and look forward to chatting.
And lot 2?
And lot 2, we've accepted a purchase agreement on this second lot. So tonight we talked about the third lot. We've accepted a purchase agreement on the second lot. So we hope to see something going on there soon as well.
Thanks very much. Okay, motion to adjourn. Thanks everyone for attending.